Welcome to the Uphill Community Podcast, your source of inspiration to gain clarity, elevate your standards, and embrace your call to more. Together we choose the uphill climb, pursuing the hard best and discovering the extraordinary life waiting to be lived in community. So welcome to the show. I'm so glad that you can join me today. I'm excited about this episode because it talks about an ambitious future. I did that in episode 2, just a little bit about getting to an ambitious future, but this one's a little bit more, I believe, it's a little richer, more robust, and I think it's very, very appropriate for where we are, just kicking off, being in the beginning of a new season, a new year, a new season. So if you're listening to this podcast and you're saying, maybe it's July or August, remember that's a new season, right? Or it could be a season of your life. It doesn't have to be a real legitimate season, like calendar season, or from, wherever you are. If you're up north and you experience winters, or, you're in the South, it's strong summers, wherever you are, doesn't matter. Seasons of life, could be calendar seasons, wherever you are. I want you to have an ambitious future. So it's the power of that ambitious future. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. There's going to be 2 parts to this. There's going to be a part 1, part 2. And I hope you are listening to the show. And if you are on a regular basis, thank you so much for doing that. But wherever you are right now, if you're listening for the first time, you caught this, or maybe you've listened a couple of times and you haven't done it yet, whatever you're listening on, if it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, Amazon Music, if it's Odyssey, Audible, Substack, however you're listening, YouTube, follow the show, subscribe to it, so that way you're always notified when a new episode comes out. It is a weekly episode, and I'm always just trying to give you things that will add value to your life. My goal and what I do as a leadership coach, a people development person, in my day-to-day and in my profession, all I do all day long is to help people get clarity, to become clear. To become clear, help them to better individuate, self-actualize, and make a difference. To be a better team player. I help them to raise standards that are necessary for them to see goals and meet goals, to see them accomplished, and also to help people get ready to embrace their call to and for more. So, and most of the people I'm working with are always in transition. They need a challenger. That's what I am. I am a challenger. I will challenge you to go to the next level. And I care about you, and therefore I challenge you. So today's episode, before I do that, if you want to follow me, you can follow me on the Instagram at Tim Pecoraro, and go into the bio link there, and you click on the bio, you'll see my link tree. You should be able to find all things that should connect you to me. Also, you can follow me on LinkedIn. So I don't do a whole lot on there just yet. I'm just posting what you'll see here. You'll see some snippets and grabs off of the podcast and different things that I do. And that's it. Just little snippets, 30, 60 seconds long. I do plan on getting a little bit more into some long form things, and also I'm probably going to do some free presentation things where I will invite people to join me and just do a LinkedIn Live or 2, especially what's going on in the world. So if you're one of those people and you are freaking out and tripping out over everything that's going on in the world, and if you're saying things are moving too fast and you're mad about the government, you're mad about whatever's going on, hey, shoot me a message and I would love to hear your thoughts, because I'm going to be talking a lot about that stuff. So you may want to know, what do I think about it? And the first thing I'm going to tell you what I think about it is, I think you can make decisions. That's what I mainly think. You and I have the ability and the power to make some choices. So I'm looking forward to talk more about that. But anyways, in the midst of all the stuff that's going on, in the midst of all the uncertainty that some people feel, for me, it doesn't matter. The uncertainty that it was yesterday could be today and was 10 years ago for me, or what could be in the future. I still know something. I still know that this guy right here, me, I get to make decisions. I get to make choices. So, and I choose to think about an amazing future. That's what I choose. I choose to think about next level living, my next level of my life, which is right now. Because today, I'm using everything I did yesterday to build today. And tomorrow, we'll use everything I do today. So I love the fact that I am a curator the day before for what I'm going to do the next day. So welcome to the show. In case you don't know who I am, I'm Tim Pecoraro. And if you're tuning in for the very first time, or if you've done this often, hey, welcome to The Climb. Let's do this thing. So today, this podcast is, I'm wanting to just continue to remind people it's about pushing forward in your life. This is about pushing forward with your work, pushing forward with your personal growth, especially when things get steep. When things get steep, they get hard. And I believe in doing the hard best, not the easy good. All right. So for me, I believe it's critical. If you want success, what's critical for me that I believe is you need an ambitious future. It's critical. You need an ambitious future for life and success. If it's something that is simple and attainable, always there. Now, don't get me wrong. I believe you need to set achievable goals, things that are attainable, right? Like I am not going to beat LeBron James in a 1-to-1. That is not an attainable goal for me, right? So I set a realistic goal, right? But I want it to be an ambitious one. Okay, realistic means I can be in the conversation. Realistic means I can hopefully work hard enough to be competitive enough. My goal is not to be the best. My goal is to be world class. I want to be in the competition. I always want to be in the running for one of those top 3 spots on the podium, right? That's me. I'm always going to be doing that. And I'm world class. I want to be in the conversation. So if we don't set a clear direction on things like what I just said, if you don't get clarity on that, you're going to end up just reacting to whatever happens in your life. But when you take ownership and when you become a person who defines where you're going and I define where I'm going, that's when the real transformation in our life happens. That's when it really can take place. So let me tell you, this is something I've learned firsthand. And I'm so excited about this, but just a few weeks ago, actually not even a few weeks, just a week ago, I became a grandfather again. Yes, number 2, I'm grandfather again. I am Poppy number 2, Poppy second time. So I have a beautiful granddaughter now, and her name is Micah Jane. And she was born on the 31st. I'm so excited about it. And but at that moment, when I knew she was born and I saw the first pictures of her, and then also when I just held her a couple of days after that, it reminded me of what kind of future that I'm building. What kind of future do I want to build? It reminded me the importance of my legacy and what the legacy is that I would like to leave behind. Not the one that I thought before. I mean, listen, I've done a lot of things, had a lot of thoughts in my mind, and I've made a lot of changes over the past 15 years. I've decided to make a lot of changes. And those changes are only because it's obviously you mature, you improve, you get better. It's also, there's been a lot of healing because a lot of decisions that you make, you don't realize how much those are being driven by things that are broken still inside of you or unresolved. There are things that still hurt, bruises, things that you're still living with the scars, just the leftovers. But I want to challenge you today and to get you to look at what does your future look like? Is it intentional or is it just happening? And again, so for me, the reason I'm bringing this up is because with my granddaughter, and then before was my grandson, and of course, and we have two sons and a daughter, and so you look at that and you go, those, that's a while out there. That's pretty far out there. Okay, and I know my age, and I'm like, wow, that's an extension from you, from yourself. And you say, okay, now what are they going to see? What are they stepping in? What are they living into? What are they going to be moving into? What is the legacy? What are they receiving? What are they inheriting? All of those things, not just money, guys. It's not just what you leave. It's not your house. It's not your possession. A lot of people, that's what they're looking for. Yay, yay. So many people are like, I got this money to give to them and all this other stuff. I'm wondering what else you're leaving, right? What are you leaving them? What are you giving to them? What are you investing into them? What are you helping them to see, grow and become? What are you doing to change in yourself? What are you doing to, and it's even the things that, there are things that you've gone through that they don't need to know your story. They don't need to know everything about you. They don't need to know some of the pain. They can know that you went through painful things, but they don't have to have every detail. But I can tell you what they can get. They can get the healing that you've gotten from the pain that you've experienced. So they can get every detail of the change. That's what I'm talking about. So when I look at that and I see the things that I want to accomplish. And I look at my grandchildren now, and I look at my children, and then I look at the life that I'm living, and I put all that together. I start going, I've got to make sure that I'm paying attention to this. And so I have a very ambitious growth goal, a goal to change, to be better, to get better at being a human. And not just with the things that I do, but just also not just what I do, but why I'm doing it. So I don't know what went well for you. Like when you think about if you were to look back for the last month, the last 2 months, what went well for you? I know it's gone well for me. The last month for me has been awesome. It's been challenging. There's been a lot of ups and downs, but it's been awesome. Why? Because I'm learning. There's some things that I'm getting better at. There are things that I'm improving in. There are breakthroughs that I didn't think could happen are there. There's discoveries in obscurity, in being slightly just aloof on purpose, being isolated a little bit, and going through some of the things that are necessary in order to go to the next level. And I mean, isolated is not cut off from other people, but just inside myself, just kind of shutting down and observing more, just being there, being in a room, being around other people, seeing other people grow, seeing other people go, seeing other people elevate and get to the next level. There have been 4 things that I've been using that have been guiding me. I've had in my mind, what am I going to stop? What am I going to start? What am I going to stay with? And what am I going to go from? And those things are important. And then service and connection are huge right now for me. Not that they haven't been before, but they're really, really big. But here's the thing. And this is where I just want to lock down into the topic for today. If you struggle to think of any highlights, like what I just did, if you struggle to think of highlights, that should tell you something. It means that you might just be moving through life without any intention, without any intentionality. And it's a dangerous thing, not the healthy dangerous, not the formidable dangerous that you want as a competitor. But because you don't just drift into your success. You don't drift there. But we can drift towards distractions. You don't drift into success, but you can drift into distraction. And if you're not being intentional about what you're doing, that's where you'll end up. So for me, one of my biggest shifts happened when I realized I wasn't getting through life. You know, I wasn't just going to get through. I wasn't just getting through and just getting by. You know, what I realized, and the biggest shift that happened for me, was when I realized I was building something. So this past month meant more to me that I'm building something. It's been so strong in my mind, the things that I've been going through, it's because I'm building something. And some of the things that, and when I say I'm building something, that means that, yeah, I'm making attempts, I'm trying new things, I'm writing stuff, I'm meeting people, I'm doing my work that I do, all that stuff. But I'm also, when I say I'm building something, it's because I'm also surrendering some things. I'm giving up some ideas. I'm giving up some attitudes, like not good ones. I'm changing some things, right? I'm building something, right? And when my granddaughter was born, that helped me to see more. I'm building something. Not only that, I see my grandson, I'm building something. I see my children, I'm building something. And, you know, I see my wife, I'm building something. I see my family, I'm building something. My friends, I'm building something. I see my clients, I'm building something. That's what keeps me moving forward. And so I'm realizing that is the fuel, that phrase, I'm building something. It gets me on fire to help me to look for this ambitious future. So it gets me to ask myself, what's my why? And that's what I'm asking you. What is your why? So let's break this down. If you are on an airplane right now, how does the pilot navigate, right? The pilot needs to look onto the horizon. It needs a horizon. An aircraft needs a horizon. And without that reference point, that plane drifts off course. So our lives are very similar to that. So in my community, I'm walking the community members through a whole thing that's my signature training tools that I've used for years. And it's about how to create lift for your life. And it's all around that. So our lives are similar to that aircraft needing that horizon so we don't just drift. So without clear destination, we drift. So here's what I'd like for you to do. I'd like for you to grab a piece of paper, and I want you to write down 3 things, okay? I want you to write down A word that would define your focus. Just one word. That's number one. What's one word that will define your focus? Now, for me, I have a word that is my lifetime focus, and that is people. It's people. Ever since I was a kid, it was people. My last name, and here's a sheep that's on my arm on my family crest for my name. They're shepherds. My last name is Shepherd. It's around shepherding, and it's something that I've done all my whole life. Didn't even realize it. Something I fought against. Something that was very difficult for me is to be that shepherd, to be shepherding to people, to want to care for them, to want to help them, to want to fight for them. So my word is people. That's an example. And then what are your core values? So the second thing is write down key core values, and don't just do the standard characters and integrity ones, right? So you can have core values of, you can say that you have high work ethic. That could be a core value. Core value can be excellence, but then make sure you know what that means. Like, define excellence. What does it mean? For me, excellence, when it's done properly, it will honor God, right? Who I believe made life so amazing and all these things, but also it inspires people. It's that type of excellence for me. So that is something that I would say for you to do. So the first thing is find a word, right? A compass word, something that will guide you, something that is going to help you to get your focus. Second is principles that will guide your decisions. And then third, I want you to think about the people. Who are the people that are helping you shape your future? That's your horizon thinking. When I think of the horizon, I want to know my word. What's my focus? People. Right? I want to know what are my core values, right? Excellence. It could be character. It can be integrity. It could be, strong work ethic. It can be competitive, like whatever you want it to be. Authenticity, transparency, whatever you're looking for, get those things in there. And then who are the people that share those values? Because those people with you on that horizon journey are going to shape that future with you. So this is what I call the horizon principle. It keeps you grounded, and it keeps you moving in the right direction. So, because here's the truth. When it comes to the people especially, your relationships are going to shape that future. And the people in your life, they're either pushing you forward or they're pulling you back. So you need to ask yourself that question. Who are the people in my neighborhood? Who are the people in your neighborhood? Okay. So you need to ask, who are they? All right. And if you haven't done this before, I'm going to give you something else. I want you to ask yourself, here's 3 questions I want you to ask yourself. The first one is, am I surrounded by the right people? Right? You can be surrounded by people. I was just with a client yesterday, and it was an alignment type meeting, and I was meeting the team and the staff, and what I did was I did my circle exercise with them. There's 2 circles, a small circle in the middle, and then one big outside circle, and then the middle circle is your inner circle. Then between the 2 circles is your in between, and then on the outside is your outer circle. And I talked to them about the inner circle, the in between circle, and the outer circle, and that you shouldn't have many people in the in between. You're going to have more on the outer, and then you shouldn't have too many on the inner, because everybody can't be in there. Everyone's not aligned like that. So what I try to do is pay attention to the middle, the in between, and figure out who needs to move in and who should maybe move out. Okay. And so when I was doing that, and I was talking to the team, one of the team members said, when I was talking about it, and they were struggling with their inner circle, and I asked them, why you struggle with the inner circle? And they said, because the things that you're talking about as it relates to me being a distinguished staff member or a team member, someone who sets themselves apart, the people that you talk about that are in my life that are supposed to influence me to be better at that, I don't want any way that they do life. I don't want that in my life. And I said, so what are they doing around you all the time? Can you change that? And that's the conversation. That's where we went. So you have to ask, am I surrounded by the right people? And if I'm not, I need to know, are my values? The second question, are my values clear? Because I want to make sure if I make my values clear, then I demonstrate them, I live them, and I'm saying them, then the wrong people will not be in the right atmosphere or experience that I'm looking for in my life. They're not going to be in that right part. They're going to have to be out of there, because the only room in there when I'm rightly aligned is going to be the right people who are aligned with those core values. And then the third, am I focused on the right things? So am I surrounded by the right people? Are my values clear? And the third question is, am I focused on the right things? So I just want you to do that simple exercise. It's that simple. Okay. So the first thing I said, remember, is get a word that helps you to focus. Second is look at your core values, because that's your principle that guides your decisions. And then the third is the relationships that are shaping your future, right? That's the horizon principle. And then ask yourself these 3 questions before you move any further. Am I surrounded by the right people? Are my values clear? And am I focused on the right things? All right. So I told you there's going to be 2 parts to this. And next week, when I come back, I'm going to be getting further into like owning your own growth so that you can overcome any barriers or obstacle. The only way to overcome barriers and obstacles in your life is to own your growth process. Okay? So here's what I want you to do. Here's your action steps before listening to the next episode. Write down 1 to 3 areas that you want to grow in this year. Could be your fitness, physical fitness. Could be your mental fitness. It could be your emotional fitness. It could be your financial fitness. It could be your spiritual fitness. I don't know what it is. Whatever you want to do, how you want to grow. You want to have a better mindset. That's up to you. You want to, because attitude is a choice. It's not a skill. So that you want to be a person that has a better attitude and disposition, spirit of cooperation, however you want to grow. Just think about it. Okay. Figure it out. 1 to 3 areas where you really want to grow. You want to see growth. This time next year, from whatever you listen to this podcast, whatever day this is, wherever season you're in, whatever time that you're in, a year from now, there's 365 days from now. What would it be like for you? So the first thing is write it 1 to 3 areas. Second is get specific. Instead of, I want to get healthier, I want you to say something like, I want to run a 5K. Instead of, I want to improve my finances, I want you to say something like, I want to save $10,000 within the year. I want to save $5,000 within the year, whatever you think it is. Okay. So, because next time we're going to get into, or the next episode, we're going to cover the barriers, the things that are holding you back, and how to actually make progress. All right. So it's a simple episode we're doing today. I want you, hopefully you will, I want you to take a moment, set that horizon. Okay. You definitely don't want to miss part 2, but just set the horizon. Think about that horizon. What's in that horizon? You want to say, what's my word? What is that thing? Tim says his is people. What's mine? You know, what's my core value? What are my core values? Those things that are going to guide my decision making. What about those people? Those relationships that are going to shape my future? Am I surrounded by the right people? Are my values clear? Am I focused on the right things? What are those areas I want to grow in? What does it look like? I'm going to do this. I'm tired of talking about it. I want action. I want that ambitious future. I want a life that is much different than the one I have right now. I want the most out of it. I want to go to the next level. If that's you, work on this. And I can't wait till you tune into next week or the very next episode so that you can remove those barriers and obstacles. So until next time, we'll talk soon.